Welcome back to my studio. I showed you how I washed in my Angelonia flowers with just magenta plus liquid. They're dry now. I've painted my background around those flowers. And so now I'm going to paint the flowers. And I'm using mixtures of my magenta plus white. I'm also using a combination of magenta plus dioxazine purple plus white. And I just come back in and start adding my blossoms in here. I'm going to make another little mixture. I need to make a mixture that's a little bit darker. So I've got paint all over my hand. Let me get that off. Okay. So anyway, this painting is for my gallery in Yountville, California. That's right at the Napa Valley. Right, Yountville is the first town you come into. They're at the southern end of the valley, and I've been with Gallery 1870 for many, many years. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Paul, Kathy, and Kesha Thorin are just really beautiful people. They've been, they're just a fabulous gallery to work with. And they've just become like family over the years. That's when you're an artist and working with galleries, that's kind of how it is. And it's really wonderful. Now, okay, now this hummingbird, I want to have this blossom coming out a little further so that his beak extends into the blossom. Again, here's some of my darker colors. The Angelonia is just a really pretty little flower, and you get a variation of colors within the blossoms. I have to be very careful when I'm painting this over that background, because as you can see, it picks up some of my background color on that brush. So I have to keep wiping my brush. The secret to clean, crisp colors on your painting is a clean brush, keeping your brush clean. The light's coming in from the upper right, and so I just make those blossoms on the right side a little bit lighter. And we have a flower comes down here, kind of dips down. And I'm leaving some of that underwash to show through. That gives a nice luminosity, and it gives variation within the flowers. You don't want your flowers all to be the same color value. You want lights, darks, you want variations in the different colors. Now I've got that blossom down a little bit far, and it comes over my shadow of the hummingbird. So I'm going to come back. I wasn't paying attention, too busy talking. Going to come back with some of my background color and just paint that blossom out, because I want that shadow of this hummingbird, the shadows cast down here. I will have some of these seed pods coming up here, but I want his head to show, so I kind of made a mistake there. But it's easy enough. I can come back and just paint over that. Now I do his little beak in here. And then I also have then the shadow of this flower comes up. I want his shadow just to be hidden back here, but I do want his head to show. So I just come back and repair my mistake. There we go. Easy enough to do. Make some blossoms come out there. These are just smaller. Now I'm going to let one of those blossoms come over his body. I'm going to let another blossom come over the beak of this hummingbird down here. You don't see him on the full frame. He was in the full picture at the very beginning of my video. But you can see I just used several variations of my colors, and this really gives a liveliness to the flowers. You want that variation in there. Makes them look a lot more realistic. And I'm coming in with a little bit of that dioxazine purple plus magenta. Put my brush down here. I need to put out a little bit more of my magenta. This again, magenta, dioxazine purple, are colors that we really can't mix with our double primary palette. We can get close. The magenta you would pick, you could mix alizarin crimson and mud. You would not get as vibrant of a color, but you could get close to it. But these are just special colors that I pull out from time to time, and they just give nice variation within my flowers. And these flowers are on stalks. I'm not going to paint all of them right now. I'm just going to do these few flowers on this side. My video's not. You get the idea of how I do it. Just showing you these, because I want to put the leaves in and the stalks here. Come back in here a little bit, some darks in there. But you can see I'm leaving quite a bit of that underwash showing through. That gives just a really nice vibrancy to the color of the flowers. Now I'm adding my little stalks, little seed pods. I want that to be a little bit bigger. These seed pods need to be bigger. And they just I keep wanting to go over the head of that hummingbird shadow. Sometimes your brush just kind of gets away from you. Okay, that's a little bit light. We're going to get this right. I may have to come back and work on that shadow after it's a little bit drier, but now bring my stalk down here. We're starting to get a few little leaves. And I paint my blossoms first, block them in, then I come back with my leaves. That way, you can see, as I'm painting that green, you can see I picked up a little bit of the magenta on my brush. The same thing would happen if I painted the green first and then came back and painted the magenta. And what that would do is that green would muddy the magenta and it wouldn't stay as vibrant. So that's why I want to do flowers first, leaves last. I'm coming in also with a little bit of phthalo blue plus liquid. Gives me just a nice coolness, and then this is a little bit of phthalo blue plus white. Again, that brings some coolness into my foliage. The Angelonia has kind of a gray-green foliage. Now let's come in and put some more of these seed pods in here. This painting is painted on a gallery wrap canvas. So the image goes up and over the top edge of the canvas. I have to get a little step stool to paint that top. Then these little seed pods, and they're not straight up and down. They kind of squiggle and wiggle and go all around. Now I'm not going to worry about these because I need to do my flowers first. But I just want to show you how I paint these. And we'll bring a stalk in here. or stem, however you want to say. Make a little. This is a mixture of my phthalo blue plus a little bit of cadmium orange and then white. Now I want to come into my, add centers into this Angelonia with my pure magenta. This is too big. A little smaller brush. Now this is my magenta plus a little bit of liquid. And I'm just adding a dark in the center of those flowers. It's not just real apparent on some of these. Now, I'm going to stay away from that shadow. I don't know why I keep wanting to paint over that. Maybe that means it should be painted over. I don't know. I just sometimes get the brush going and forget what I'm doing. But you can see I'm adding some centers into these. And then I just come up and add a few little strokes here and there. There's no exact science to this. I do not follow my reference material exactly. I have some pictures of Angelonia on my laptop next to my easel on the tabouret, but I don't follow it exactly. I just want to get the feel of these flowers, then I just kind of let my brush dance on the canvas. The gallery in the Napa Valley at Yountville, Kesha came up with the most beautiful term I love for what she calls my paintings. She calls it magical impressionism, and I just think I love that term. So this is magical impressionism, if you're curious. I'm coming back with a little bit of my lighter mixture. Add some centers to these. And I'm going to add some little bit lighter leaves right in here where they come out over the top of this boot. Add a little bit of light colors in here. This isn't quite as light as the other, a little bit lighter. Then I'm going to add a little light on this blossom that the hummingbird is sipping nectar out of. This gives you a feel for the Angelonia. I'm going to add a little more light onto this one down here that this hummingbird is sipping out of. I'm going to give that flower a little more shape so I can come back with my background color. It's not the brush I want. And again, if you keep these colors, then you can just come back and move back and forth. Okay, so that gives us that tubular shape that that flower is, because we see that from the side that he's going into it. We're going to add a little more light onto these. You can see I paint pretty thickly. I use a lot of texture on my flowers. I want them to be so textured that a blind person could, when the painting is dry, run their hands over it and feel those flowers. That one that light. Okay, add these centers and these will be done. Too much paint on there. I really appreciate you watching my YouTube videos. I do hope you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, if you would like to see the blog on this painting that shows the full process from start to finish, visit my blog. The link is in the description below. It's also, the address is on the final frame of my YouTube video. So you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And again, I just thank you so very, very much.